Hello, this is Jason Dupree.
Hello, Jack Goras here, photographer.
Hey man, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. How you been?
I'm doing pretty good myself. I just recorded an episode just the other day with Anna, so I don't know, it feels kind of crazy doing another one so soon. But the whole reason
Yeah,
behind this, as you can show from the bottom there, what we're talking about, film stuff. You said to me that you, how did this come up? I was talking
I don't
about it
know.
in a group chat somewhere and you started like talking about something specific and I was like, well, if you know this stuff, why haven't we talked about it yet?
Yeah, right. I have some formal film training. Not much because it's film school, but it's you know enough to know. You know.
You know enough to know. No, I taught myself lots of stuff through if anybody has listened to Scott the Fane Knowles podcast, talk to him about how I did video for skateboarding and some other things like that. And
Right.
so I picked up just making fun videos with friends and did editing and did graphic design for all that stuff and, just did a little bit of everything. So I just taught myself that stuff. Got into photography probably about the same time and again, just taught myself what I know. But I did actually take like an adult education photography class at one point. That was kind of cool. So I
Hmm.
learned a little bit of, logistics and terminology and a couple of things that I didn't know. For the most part, I knew most of what they were talking about already, but it was nice to get the from the basics
Right.
side of it. So
Yeah.
what classes did you take?
So with broadcasting, I probably started like my senior year of high school when I came down to Florida during the summer for about 3 months. And my sister was the broadcasting director for a mega church, actually. So I actually came down here and, you know, did some camera work, started understanding the whole how broadcasting works, and actually did my senior project at a local news station in North Carolina where I grew up. So with my senior project, I was able to, learn how the cameras work. It's been so long now, you forget what everything's called, but there's a big giant board, where there's a
Like the mixer type
yeah,
thing?
but they pretty much you have like 10 different cameras, and I want to say it's the director, and he's the one calling the shots and picking the shots, and then the producer is kind of overseeing everything. But pretty much the director will be calling the shots, telling the camera operators how to navigate, what the angles are, and it's a lot of that stuff. So a lot of my broadcasting experience came from that. And when I actually went to film school, and I only went for about 2 years because I ended up dropping out to pursue
So
photography.
you did the church broadcasting stuff first before film school?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So
So a lot of
so then you went to
go
film
ahead.
school and what did you pick up there that I guess that you didn't on the job in the church?
I mean, I learned probably a lot more of the technical stuff, and all the different positions from like the shader to the director to the typographer. Man, it's been so long, and once you like step out of it, you forget what everything's called.
The what does a typographer do?
um, That's not the typographer, but he's the guy that with the script. You know how in the news there's a guy with the script, and he's the one scrolling through it.
Hmm.
And so there's a monitor. So the monitor is like on the camera, and they use like mirrors and stuff. So the news anchor is looking straight at the camera, but they're also reading the script at the same time. You know what I mean? And there's a guy scrolling through the
So
script
he's actually
for the
responsible for keeping up
Mhm.
with the.
Yeah. So he's actually listening in to the anchor and keeping up or staying ahead of the anchor with the script.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you went to film school, got some skill there, learned some knowledge, and then you stopped going for photography.
Yeah. So I started photography when I was in film school, and I was just trying to look for additional ways to make money, pretty much. So I started shooting events like obstacle course racing and 5Ks and stuff just on the side, and that's kind of like how I started broadcasting. I mean, not broadcasting, but photography.
What was your first obstacle race to shoot?
It was a Green Beret Challenge here in Central Florida, which is more of a local series.
Yeah. So now, I mean, if anybody knows you, and if they may not know your face, but they may know your name from seeing you on the list like Motoring Guides Best of, one of those
Hmm.
award-winning. Did you win this past year?
Yeah, yeah, I actually won this past
Oh
year
yeah,
to my
I
surprise.
should have introduced you better. Award-winning Jack Goras.
I don't know. I never really liked the Munrun guy and how they presented it. People's choice.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. Did it
Oh,
fit?
okay.
It does. Okay, cool.
All right. People's choice. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but people chose me.
uh, yeah. So before we get too deep into it, for listeners, of course, we're not. I'm not interviewing you, Jack. We're having a conversation here. You are one of the few guest co-hosts that I've had. It's far few and far between that I have a guest co-host. Uh, but because of all the stuff that I've been working on, I really want to gather as much knowledge as I can about this stuff. And since you
Right.
know a little bit about it, it's like, let's talk. And, if our knowledge gets out into the rest of the OCR community and helps everybody else out a little bit at the same time, then I'm all for it. So, um, uh,
Yeah.
I really wish I could remember what we were actually talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It just kind of came up because I think we're talking about the Spartan Race podcast. Um, and I just kind of mentioned it as a joke. I don't want to brag, but I went to film school.
All right. Well, so let's think about it in the realm of what we are trying to do versus what
Mhm.
we've seen Spartan and Tough Mudder do so far. Um,
Right.
you were in the church. You were in a enclosed, like you're in a building. Everything's on the same network. I take it y'all are probably using some kind of weird um, camera types, maybe NDI or SLI or what? Do you know
Hmm.
technicals of what you guys were
No,
using?
no,
Just had
no.
cameras and
I'm more so just at the cameras. I was 17 at the
but you
time,
don't know
so
what kind of feed it gave out.
mm-mm. No, it's probably normal feed.
Well, that's the funny thing that I've learned about it is that there is so many different options. It's
Hmm.
like I don't know all the specifics, but it's something about the way the camera, records or encodes it versus where it goes
Hmm.
and how that platform that it goes to encodes it, or if there is an encoder in
Yeah.
between. I don't know. There's all kinds of craziness that goes along with it. So you could
Oh
have
yeah.
a camera that, just like a normal video camera that we think of, like even your phone, you use a USB cable, but production
Hmm.
cameras may have an
Yeah.
NDI plug-in, or I think it's NDI, but I could be wrong. It could be SLI or whatever the other one's called. And it looks more like a coax cable than it does any other cable you would use on your computer.
Oh yeah. And there's like these thick cords, and they're pretty intense.
Okay. So when you say the normal kind, that's probably what probably what y'all are using.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's been so long since I've messed with broadcasting. I just kind of understand the gist of it.
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, what we're doing, with I found I think the cheapest and the freest ways to get this done. One using OBS, which is a free
Hmm.
platform that a lot of gamers use. There are
Right.
multiple. It's free. It's not freeware. It's open source, so people can make. They've got all the code for it, so they can make all kinds of add-ins and all kinds of other stuff that go along with it. Um,
Right.
so it is constantly being updated. It's pretty widely used, pretty easy to use. There's
Hmm.
other versions of it that kind of do specific things, but I think for what we're doing, it's working pretty well. And
Oh yeah.
as you can see, the watermark in the bottom right, the Singular Live, that's the graphic overlay platform that I've been using.
Hmm.
Now, uh, here's an example of kind of a mixed overlay graphic platform. I've got the borders for this in OBS to where they are just an image. I had them in Singular,
Okay.
but I ended up I didn't want to have to deal with resizing them and stuff, so I figured let me just make a set size and that's what I'll go with. So using Photoshop to just quickly bang out a couple
Yeah.
of rectangles was the easier route. So
Oh
like
yeah.
I could turn those on and off like so.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Whereas the names that I've got flying in, those are coming from Singular Live, and I can turn those on and off as well. And then they actually have like animation, and that's where those get really cool. On top of the animation, but all the other widgets and plugins
Hmm.
and different things they have, like the leaderboard that I did for the Ultravirus race,
Yeah.
was all done in there. Now, what tips do you have for me? Teach me what I.
Yeah. Aren't you supposed to do the Decafit live?
Yeah,
So I remember you saying something about that a long time ago.
yes. When the first Decafit was gonna happen, I was slotted to do the graphics, which I was gonna use Singular to do that for
Right.
updating the leaderboards and like who's on the screen, nameplates and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Um,
Were they planning on doing like having multiple cameras and having like actual broadcasts?
yes,
I mean, what was the
the
plan?
team that they were looking to bring in is a guy who's done mostly indoor events, so it fits, because Deca fits all in, in
Right.
in one single spot. So even whether you've got Ethernet all over your building, so you can get to all your cameras, or in the past they've used where they have like hotspots that are all in a
Right.
networked mesh, so they're all
Right.
feeding to that. And
Yeah.
so as long as you've got internet, then that's all fine and dandy. And of course, that's where we
Hmm.
run into trouble with OCR. But if we do that, yeah, it's going to be a not a huge team, but a multi-camera team. One person
Right.
being like the producer, director, and
Hmm.
then me doing overlays.
Yeah, because what will happen is they'll have the 3 to 5 cameras out, capturing the shots, and it'll all go to pretty much one computer, and they'll have someone selecting which camera they want to be live, and a lot of times they'll have um, radios to talk to each other,
Mm-hmm.
so they'd be like, camera 2, I need this, or you're out of focus, or you need to do this, or I need you over here, and the director will be able to coordinate all that from that computer, and he'll be the one selecting, hey, camera 4, you're live at right now. And then I guess you would play in with doing the graphics and the overlays, which is
Yeah,
probably easier.
yeah. As much as I've been doing like every single job with the obstacle racing stuff, I was looking forward to being just like one job and being told what to do
Hmm.
instead of having to do it all myself.
Right.
But what you're saying about the radios, I was actually looking into that myself. Before all this COVID stuff started happening, and we were looking at going to um, Montana. Just a
Right.
couple weeks ago, that should have happened, and a bunch of us were going to be there. So I was thinking, let me look into what walkie-talkies we could get and actually bring with us
Yeah.
and have out there. Um, if
Yeah, that'd be
Go ahead.
yeah, that'd be really nice to have to coordinate where the leaders are, and we can get the same radios as Spartan, and we can coordinate
Yeah.
just like eavesdrop on where they are.
Right. I
That'd
didn't
be
actually
great.
think about uh, sniping their feed or whatever. Not their feed, but
Hmm.
their
Yeah,
radio
just
talk.
it's free information. They don't own the rights to the radio network,
Hmm.
but just getting the frequency, figuring out what frequency they use, we can just pretty much eavesdrop on. Um, just knowing where the leaders are would be awesome information to have, especially when you're on foot.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. But I figure, you got just a walkie-talkie that's sitting on you or wherever, and then you got maybe one earbud in your
Hmm.
ear so you can be talking. Um,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that'd definitely be a lot easier, especially people who aren't in the loop.
Yeah, and we may, when we finally actually get to do it, we may run into the same reason why Tough Mudder and Spartan haven't done it or stopped doing it, just because of the viewership's not really there. But
Hmm.
we're looking to do it for basically free anyway, so we're not really worried so
Yeah.
much about getting the viewership. It's really more for the community, the people that we do know want to watch it. Maybe it's not a huge crowd, but
Yeah.
I want to watch it myself. So
Yeah. I think the hardest part is, if we're because you're wanting to record the whole thing and broadcast it live, right?
hmm
Is really finding the team, you know, how many cameras you're going to have and what you're going to have to sacrifice. Because if you only have one camera, where you're going to put that, and then how you're going to connect it to the main dashboard.
right, and that's been the toughest part in an open space like that. Thinking
Hmm.
if people are on cell service and cell service is good, then that could work because we can easily
Right.
do pulling in through RTMP server and then piecing that all together.
Right.
But and if we're doing like a live call, you could have somebody hop on. I mean, somebody could be, I don't know, are you using a computer or your phone? You're using a computer. Somebody could be on their phone
Yeah.
on
No, computer.
Skype, and I could still pull them in and like actually do
Right.
live commentary out from the field. Um,
Yeah.
or not even that, or they could just, if they're out there filming, they could turn their camera around and I can jump to them and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, you're live."
Yeah. I know OCR, um, whatever the
Yeah,
OCR network, OCR
OCRM
network media.
network, media network,
Yeah, it's kind of I don't get why they went with that OCRM network
OCRM media
media.
network. No.
Um, but yeah, they tried something similar, but honestly, what comes down is it watchable to the audience?
Yeah.
If people want to watch the race. Spartan, in my opinion, needs to give up on something. I think, and the best way to do it would be to have the main area like the festival, but having all the main obstacles there and having the athletes, start there. They do their run, like a mile two run, and you can have simple obstacles like a hay jump and wall jump,
Yeah, all the
and they
boring
come
stuff.
back and do, yeah, the boring stuff, and they come back to the main hub where they do, the more intense obstacles. So not only are you able to bring people in, you can have your audience. If you want obstacle horse racing to go big, you have to be able to pitch it to people who sit on the couch on Sundays and watch football. you know, and I think the best way to do it would be, having like a stadium and having all the main obstacles in the stadium, and then they can go through the tunnels and run out and run, do their 2-3 miles out, and then come back, do a few obstacles, do another 2-3 miles out, come back and do the obstacles. That way, you have the audience there who can watch, all the craziness, and then it's so much easier to broadcast.
Right, and you're not the first person to say that. I mean, I think some even people like Hobie Call have been trying to get them to do a format like that for years now,
Hmm.
and they
And
won't do it.
yeah,
And that to me that's fine. That's not our job to fix that part of the
yeah,
race. We just need to take what's out there. That would make it easier logistically,
oh
but
yeah.
we can still get out and be at the obstacles when they get there.
Hmm.
Um,
And the only best way to do it is to have, is how they're doing it now, which is garbage, which is with the GoPros, and they're running around. You hear the camera operator breathing, You know, it's
Yeah,
not
I can't
pretty
say
bad,
that having the rabbits is really the. I mean, that part's not super exciting. Just watching somebody run through the woods. Now, I still watch it, but
right?
I mean, if you think about it, when you're watching Tour de France, that's all you're seeing the entire time.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but of course,
but
with good commentary and good cameras and all the other stuff that goes
mhm.
along with it. Uh,
But what I'm thinking is if you want to go live and broadcast it live and have it watchable to your everyday person, then the best way to do it is have, just like how I said, have it in a stadium. You'd be able to sell tickets to your everyday person. You
sure.
know,
But let's focus on what we can control, which we can't control
right?
that part of it. Um, it looking at the map ahead of time, it should be to me fairly easy to be like, all right, we need somebody here,
Hmm.
here, and here, and then they rotate between different obstacles. And honestly, I
Right,
would love to see having that exact same team for men and then for women. Like so, having
right.
if you've got three cameras, having six people, not six, actually having six cameras. I know that would
Yeah,
be tricky
having
to do.
three cameras on each is what you're saying.
Right, because that's one thing I hate
Hmm.
is like you see the men wrapping up, and then the women you're
Yeah.
like catching up to them after they've already started doing stuff, and then you miss a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wish they would do them on different days. To be honest, I think they should do men on one day and women on the next, or so people can watch it. And women aren't getting caught up in the men, like the elites, the
Right,
men's elites who aren't elites, but they're getting caught up and pushed,
sure, and
around by that.
again, that's something that's out of our control. Um,
Right. But
but
yeah, I know what you're saying. Having three, three camera guys focus on the women and three on the men.
because three different people could rotate between obstacles probably even on a beast course. I think you could probably position
Hmm.
them to where they can catch all the good obstacles. Um,
Yeah, and it's just depending on where the obstacles are and how easy it is to get there,
right, right.
and how you're going to get around. Are the cameras going to have to run after them, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, and since we're not a huge operation, really the best thing that we can do is try some things out and hope it gets better. I did
Hmm.
my one camera running with the leader's feed of Battle Race right before my
Yeah.
only race of this year so far. Um, and while the stream footage, I don't, it was I guess the bit rate wasn't high enough or something about it was off.
Hmm.
And speaking of which, what do you know about bitrate? Like that's one thing I got to figure out is what is the best way to get the best quality out of a phone camera streaming over the internet.
Probably just having the newest iPhone and phone signal. If your phone signal is not good, it's going to lower that
Yeah, and
resolution.
I do know and have already talked about ways to have good signal, like consistent
Hmm.
signal with paid things, paid devices, and USB modems to have like multiple modems from different carriers, so that you always have,
Right.
and they do a thing called cellular bonding where they combine the
Right.
signal. So price wise, that's really the hardest part about that because the
Right.
technology is there and they've done it. I've seen productions of cross whatever dune buggy races and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, going live, like Facebook Live on their phone, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, they are, but it's still a production quality because
Hmm.
these phone cameras or whatever, they might have a high quality camera with a backpack and a bigger version of that
Hmm.
device in the backpack. I'm, looking at the cheapest route possible that we could use. But so even with that kind of technology, they're still feeding that in back to a home base that is,
Yeah.
not connected
Hmm.
except by internet.
Yeah. So the way I would see it is having the cameras have transmitters on, and they would transmit the data back to wherever.
Right. That.
But you're going to be losing quality from that, and then
Yeah.
from the dash is going to have to go live, which is depending how good the internet is.
Yeah, so before we can even think about putting that kind of money into it, we kind of have to do it with our phones. Like that's really the only option we have because we don't
Hmm.
have somebody that's like, hey, I'm going to bankroll this just because I want to,
Yeah.
because we don't expect to get the viewership to get any money from it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a pretty tough angle.
yeah,
You
it
know,
really
you
is.
have to sacrifice quality, for your budget.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we haven't got to do more testing because of all this, but we're
Mhm.
in the same position as everybody else.
Oh yeah, sure.
But that's what I want to keep doing is just keep testing that technology out and try and get that
Mhm.
connection as clear as possible. It may not be clear, but as clear as possible
Right.
and as reliable as possible. That's the two tricky parts.
Yeah. I think a few years ago, when I first started photography, and I was shooting an event in Asheville, and they had to delay the runners like the Elite Wave 15 to 30 minutes because they couldn't get the internet going.
for
So
the for the feed.
yeah. Hmm. So I think it's a lot on Spartan to do pick out the locations better.
Yeah, and that's another problem with, you're at a big event and they might
Mhm.
bring out a cell tower, but it's still going to be bogged down with all the rest of the signal out there. And
Oh yeah.
the paid platforms that I've looked into, that's one of the cool things that they do is they actually have it to where it's like unlimited, but also not unthrottled data
Yeah.
when you're using
Right.
their stuff, which is pretty neat. That'd be great.
Right.
I just need gotta have the money for it.
Oh yeah.
So
So it's a lot, you know, on budget.
yeah, and really honestly, it's easy to be like, I'll go buy a $100 gimbal. I'll go buy this. I'll go buy that.
Hmm.
And even the device that I'm talking about is like $1,000. If that's not that big a deal, the problem is the
Yeah.
monthly cost for the data itself
Oh yeah.
on those wireless modems, the USB modems.
Hmm.
So that's the tricky part.
Something I would like to see a race because I was thinking about trying this out like a toughest mudder is that you can buy like little GPS devices. They're like an inch or 2 inches big, and I was going to throw it on an athlete, and you can see real time where the athlete is on course, and then overlaying that with like a course map,
Yeah.
you know, and then you can see where the athletes are in real time, and that's something
Yeah, I mean, isn't that something that races are doing already? Like even some, like
I feel like
street races do, I believe.
some of the bigger races that can afford
Yeah,
GPS.
right.
Because it's probably like a $60 GPS, and then you got to buy like a monthly membership
Mm.
for it.
Yeah, that would be cool though.
Really? Yeah, I was looking at you can buy them for your dog. And I was just gonna buy one of those, and it records real time to your phone. And you can actually see exactly where they are
Mm,
on like Google Maps.
nice.
It's pretty neat.
Cool.
That could be something people would be willing to watch, live and with commentary.
Yeah, and it would be easy to take something like that and overlay it.
Hmm.
Switch scenes. There it is. You show that. You got somebody talking about it.
Right.
Um,
And I think that's something we could potentially look into
yeah.
for the top athletes at least.
Yeah, even time wise, maybe we wouldn't have exact numbers, but we could guesstimate the by looking at synchronizing watches and stuff when they get to
Hmm.
certain obstacles. This was their time, and have it in an
Yeah.
Excel spreadsheet that figures out the um, what's it called, the plus or minus to the next athlete.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
word for that.
You can figure out a lot of things, but it takes money to get things going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That kind of thing would be a free thing. Like that's just more
Mm.
the extra work to say, so and so's here. It's you know X
Hmm.
o'clock, and then
Yeah.
whenever the next person comes through, they're here at such and such o'clock, and then somebody's doing the input, and then the Excel spreadsheet could already be set up to figure out the splits
Right.
between the two people.
Yeah.
So
I know when I
there,
shoot the toughest mutters, they only have like 3 or 4 mats for like every mile. So it's
right.
gonna be.
I don't want to expect, or I don't expect us to be able to get the timing from not it live the way we want it from Spartan.
Hmm.
Portland Tough Mudder. Um, maybe one day, but starting off,
Yeah.
we're probably gonna have to do some of that stuff manually.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Will, I do want to. I plan on running the barring something crazy come up. I do plan on running the next Ultravirus race,
Yeah.
and
That should be
I
exciting.
think I can make it pretty easy to let Mike and Will or
Hmm.
whoever do a live show every few hours if they want. Um,
Yeah.
I can have OBS up and set up and ready to go, and have a web page that they can go to start the stream, and
Right.
even switch between scenes if they need to. If we have something like a video to
Yeah.
play or something, and I'll be running, so I'd have my phone on me if I needed to do something specific. But for the
Right.
most part, I think I can set it up to where they can control it as much as needed. They can the singular page. All I got to do is give them the link, and they can go and change that
Right.
stuff to update like the leaderboard and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I want to try that, and maybe even mix in some footage just from running. I don't know. I really need to
Yeah.
do just get more, even if it's garbage production. I need to get more practice and testing, getting my phone out and streaming back to my machine.
Right.
So that's the
Yep.
hope.
It works. I really like the video you did with the montage at the end.
Yeah, that
Like,
was a lot of fun. That stream in general, I was on all 13 hours watching the Zoom call, and I'll go ahead and he'll probably never actually watch this, but I'll go ahead and give some not criticism, some constructive criticism, some feedback on the last stream that they did. So they had J.D. Allen and the guy Ryan Fick, Fick, Flick,
hmm.
Fick. They were they just didn't know a couple of things. Like they didn't know that you could pin a person to the front screen. So
Right.
whereas when you're in Zoom and you've got the crowd view, you can make it to where it's whoever's speaking shows big, or you can make it to
Hmm.
where you pin somebody and they stay big. So they didn't know
Right.
about that until like three-quarters of the way through, and then they finally started doing it. So the entire
Hmm.
time I was doing that and like looking through, I would go to, just to keep it interesting, I would change it up. I'd go to gallery view, kind of scroll through the
Right.
pages, see what's going on, find something interesting, and pin that and show it on the screen. And then I would go jump to the leaderboard every so often as well, just to try and keep, it was a long, very long day, and anybody watching it probably was kind of bored anyway. But some people still did. Obviously, not a ton,
Yeah.
but some people did.
Yeah.
So I would love to see them do that. Now, Matt's, I mean, he's putting money. We've seen his the t-shirts come out just today, so we see that he is putting some money into this. He's got a nice website with a good leaderboard this time. It would be cool to see him put money into a live stream, but I don't think he will. I don't think that part's really important to him right now. But he does
Right.
want his live stream to be the one that people watch, which it's going to be just the Zoom call going straight to Facebook Live, which is not anything special.
Hmm.
So, uh, if he had somebody that knew what they were doing, they could handle that live stream really well and make it as interesting as it can be. Having some
Yeah.
people talking to provide the commentary and color. Now Matt thinks he's a great commentator, but he wasn't there for most of it, so he needs somebody
Hmm.
on there that's doing that. But our stream isn't gonna have the Zoom call since
Right. Oh.
so we're just gonna have like kind of like catch up, talk about who's doing what and how the racers are, how it's going on the course, I guess. And I don't know. That's up to Will and Mike to decide what they want to chat about there. and whoever else they get invited in. I mean, it'd be cool to see them actually get like an interview with somebody um, mid
Yeah, it would.
race and show that during our little live show.
Yeah, it would be interesting to watch that.
So we'll see. Hopefully something will happen there. But if anything else, it's all of this is just practice for when we can try and do it at some races, at some real races. So
Yeah, I'm excited for Utah if it happens. We'll see. But are you planning on being there
no, isn't it in June or July?
in the July?
End of July. I think it's a possibility as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't bothered to, until some races actually start to happen. I'm not buying any more flights or anything. So
Right.
if things start to happen, I may, but
Yeah.
leaving it up in the air
Yeah.
for now.
I'm planning on being there, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, still feels a little too early to buy flights, other than ones that I've already purchased in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had to cancel a lot of flights
Yeah.
the past 4 months, but luckily the airlines are waiving the change fee.
Right.
So,
Cool, man. What else?
that's pretty much it on my end.
You got it. You don't have any last second broadcast knowledge I need to know?
Um,
Thought you had all the answers for me.
drop out of full so
No, I do appreciate you coming on and chatting about this. It's funny as much as people want to see the live stream. There's not really
mm-hmm.
too many people that are actually interested in the back end of it. So this is
Right,
it gets real technical real fast, and it's easy
right.
to lose people when you're talking about RTMP services and NDI sources, and people are like, "What?" I mean, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a lot to learn, a lot of terms, a lot of stuff, whole lot of stuff.
yeah, for sure. It's an uphill battle, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, Jack. Well, you enjoy the rest of your coronavirus Friday, and
Yeah, for sure.
we'll talk to you soon. I can't think of anything else to really wrap this up. Any last thoughts here?
No thoughts. Listen to my podcast. My thoughts are there.
Yeah, yeah. If you have heard, for listeners that have heard Jack Goras, thoughts of Jack Goras, this is the beautiful face and hair that go behind that voice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was fun, and I mean, that was started out as a April Fool's episode, but it was cool. So we'll keep doing it
Yeah.
if you want. Um, let me
All right.
wrap this up with a quick. Oh, go check us out on YouTube, which you are right now. OCR report for any live shows and stuff that we actually do for races and whatnot will be there more than likely. But I'm gonna say goodbye here and give the little end screen, and we'll be done. I gotta get better at closing these out.
Yeah.
All right,
All
dude.
good.
Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right. See ya.